Back in 1990, was there anything scarier in a Star Trek show than seeing one of these cubes appear on the view screen? Hi, I'm Joe, and today's video is all about the Borg. Now, when a Borg ship first appeared on Star Trek The Next Generation, my first reaction was, how can you call that a ship? It's just a cube. It looks like what they crush cars down into at the junkyard. But we later found out that those cubes were a lot more trouble than the Enterprise had bargained for. And then, when the Borg reappeared in the season finale of Star Trek The Next Generation Season 3, we knew they meant business when they had kidnapped Picard and assimilated him into their collective. Now, I have some sets that I've shown you before, but today I've got two new ones, which are just different scales of Borg cubes. Now, we've already seen the video with 7 of 9 here in the back, and what I'm calling Bjorn here on the left. And I've also shown you this advent calendar build of the Borg cube in a short, but today we have two new ones. There's this, I don't know if we even want to call it MIDI scale or what, but we just have two different scales of Borg cube. So I wouldn't call this a UCS size, I'd call it MIDI scale, and this is whatever is one level down from that. But all three of these different cubes have very different techniques as to how they were put together. I'll start here with this advent calendar build, which is just some 3x3 and 2x3 black plates put over a core, which is built just with a few brackets and snot bricks so that they can all attach. And it was a pretty simple build, but I think it's very effective. And you have just enough of these trans green pieces to give the ship a little bit of life. Next up is the smaller scale build, which was about 400 pieces, and based on the box, looks like it's going to be nothing but black. You don't see any of the trans green, but after building it, I think the trans green is plenty visible here. And this is a different building technique because each of the 6 sides of the cube is actually one big, either 8x8 or 6x6 trans green plate. And you just build up all the other greebling on top of it with black pieces, and then you end up just snapping it all around the core. The inside part is also pretty interesting to me because it involves some styles of bricks I've never seen before, like these 2x4x2 bricks with studs on the side, which normally a brick with 4 studs on the side would normally be only 1 2/3 high, but this is a full 2 bricks high, which makes it possible to be able to attach the panels legally without adding any additional plates. Now, there was quite a bit of stress, it seemed, on the bricks, so I wondered if this was an illegal building technique. And according to the copyright here on the printed tile in the front, this was from 2021 when BlueBrixx did have some problems with their building techniques. But everything measured out and it went together the way I think it should. And unlike the box picture, I think there's a lot of green that shows through here. And I guess if I really got motivated, I could probably shove a light in there and make it look really cool. Like other BlueBrixx Star Trek ships, the base is made in the shape of a logo representing the species that the ship belongs to. And while I never remembered the Borg having a logo, they apparently do. And this is the brick-built representation of it. And this is one of the most interesting parts of the build to me because you have all these trans green pieces in all these various shapes. And you can actually build some type of this teardrop type shape instead of something pretty plain like a cube. Finally, we have this much larger Borg cube, which I will go ahead and admit I did not build this. My daughter Julie built this. This is actually her set. And it is built similarly in that you build each side separately and then attach it to the core. But the core, instead of having those larger snot bricks, it actually looks more like this, where you build the top and the bottom, and you've got this center core here that has a pillar that comes out from the center for each of the 6 sides. And eventually, once you have the top and bottom on, each of the other panels will be supported in 5 places, 1 in each corner and 1 in the center. And this model doesn't use the large trans green plates. It actually just uses black plates, and you put other trans green elements on top of it to give it the black and green look. And just like the smaller cube, the base is built up to be in the form of the logo, and there's also a printed tile. This is a much larger and nicer printed tile showing that this is a Borg cube. And while the Borg have appeared in several of the Star Trek series, and even one of the movies, they were introduced in the TV show Star Trek: The Next Generation. Thank you for watching my video about the Borg and their ships, but it's not like you had a choice. Resistance would have been futile. But I do appreciate you coming by, and remember that today is a good day to build.